The game. It's a word that is attributed to life. A lot of people say the game, I'm in the game, I'm playing the game, don't hate the player, hate the game, the game, the game, the game. I just want to run this theory by you. I have, whether it's realistic or not, in a sense of this life is actually a game. I think it's something that you can learn from if you just think about it. You don't have to start thinking that life is a game, but you can apply game rules to it. So check this out. In a video game, let's say we're talking a role-playing game like a Final Fantasy type game, somewhere where you level up, you get experience, you develop your character, you get these new traits, you get these new skills, you just basically enhance your character as you go along. You're born in a village or wherever you're born with basically nothing. Now, over time you solve puzzles, you get through obstacles, you deal with difficult enemies, you deal with bosses, and you level up and you get experience, and everything you've already done is easy to do, and everything, because you've got the experience from those things, as you get closer to certain bosses and certain levels, they get easier to do because your level is higher and you're mastering yourself. You have the best weapons, in our case would be the best tool there is, our brains, and it just makes the game a lot easier. Now, most people that will play a game, they'll spend as many nights as it takes basically to complete a level that they're stuck at. Doesn't matter if they're there, they shit in their pants and they're sat there for like 2 weeks. Some people are that addicted to games that they'll go on and complete that game no matter what it takes, whether it takes 2 nights, whether it takes 3 nights, whether it takes a month to complete this game. People get addicted to the game and they have to get through that level. What's the difference between that and one of your life problems? Now, in your game, the rewards aren't all that. You complete a game, something that isn't real, something that when you turn the computer off disappears. But in real life, if you keep working at that problem, no matter how difficult it is, and you get through that problem, you reap the benefits. Now, we are experiencing a level up system in life, whether you realise it or not. Every challenge you face, every obstacle you defeat, you are leveling up. Now, the way your mind works is that there are these things called synapses, and what they are is like connective tissue within our brain, and every time we learn something, a new connection gets made, and like a literal connection. Like if you could take your brain out of your head, you would see this new connection that's being built off something that you've learned. Obviously we're not aware of it because we don't see it, but that's what happens in our brain. And the more connections you have, the more efficient your brain is, and the faster it can go to different, if you're thinking about a subject, instead of before where you'd have been thinking, well, how does that work? Now you look at it, and because you have all these connective fibers in your brain that connect straight to things, you immediately know answers to things. Now, that is something we can build up in our brain. This is mastering our brain. I've been working, 2 seconds, right. I've been reading a part of this book. It's called Robert Greene Mastery. I'm only literally about 20 pages in, but it's just inspired me to talk about what I know already. I'll make another video when I finish this book so I can talk on it more, but it's all about mastering your brain, mastering the way your mind works. See, if you don't try to master your brain, it's like the blade that you leave out for years. It's gonna dull itself. It's going to become less efficient through stagnancy. It's the exact same thing with our brain. If we aren't putting it to work, if we aren't leveling up, if we aren't discovering new things, if we aren't solving new problems, our brain is going to become stagnant. And whereas when we're learning, we're getting these new synapses and these new connections, when we don't learn, our brain starts telling we don't need to know as much as we were trying to learn before, so we start losing these connections. And that's why if you don't focus on something for a while and try to go back to it, as good as you were at it before, you're not as good as you were when you go back, because you don't have those efficient connections in your brain anymore. This is a journey. We need to constantly stay learning every day. And it's a responsibility we have as people who are searching for success. If you're watching this video, whether you're taking the action or not, you're searching for success. At least the idea is in your head. But now you have to make these connections in your brain and learn and apply and find out what works, find out how stuff works. And the more you know, the easier it is to start to learn even more and more again. So you watching this video, I want you to start building up more of these connections. I want you to start reading books. I want you to start taking out courses. I want you to go into the link Below, go to the grrlibrary.com. I want you to purchase a course. I want you to learn music marketing. I want you to learn music branding. I want you to succeed, and I've got some great information to help you do that. This is very possible with action and only action. So don't get mad, get motivated. Don't make hits, make history. Master your brain, build up those connections. Peace.